Well, hello there. This is Float On. This podcast gives you guidance and insight in seeing more beauty along the river ride that is life. You can't go back. You can only learn and move forward. I'm your host, Dalia Jean. Let's do this thing, guys. Hey to all of you out there. First thing, I just want to start off by saying that I decided I'm going to record this episode from my new bed because it's super comfortable. So yeah, I'm set up here with my pillows, my blankets, and I've got my laptop and I'm just recording with all of you from bed. So just a little context for you. So I hope you guys are doing super awesome today. If you're not quite there, if your day isn't awesome, don't worry. By the end of this, I think we're going to have you seeing things a little more positively. This episode is going to focus on mindset. And we're going to really break it down. Like, what is a positive mindset? What is growth mindset? And not only am I going to give you some tips and tricks on mindset and like how to actually incorporate it into your life, together we're going to determine where you are specifically and then where you can start. I'm going to give you lots of examples of where you can start. So, I've been wanting to do this episode. Honestly, I feel like mindset is something that could have easily been my first episode because it's such a big part of my life and I feel like it's such a big part of who I am. But I also feel that positive mindset and growth mindset has been something that's sort of been intermingled in, sort of an underlying theme throughout my episodes so far. And really, it's one of the core pillars of this podcast is growth and resiliency. And I think about it a lot. I do a lot of reflecting in my life. And one thing that came to my mind that I just want to share with you guys is, for those of you who know me, I do have some tattoos, okay? But my biggest tattoo, which I think most people are like surprised when they see it, is I have a thigh piece. And my thigh piece is something that when I first read it many years ago, I came across this sort of quote. And, I love reading inspirational quotes, but as far as like where they stand for me in my life, I really just kind of buckle down and depend on my own mind to create my own inner dialogue instead of just constantly relying on the words of other people. But this quote really stood out to me and it actually made me cry. So I have this really cool piece that a friend of mine did, and it's got a boat and a storm and some rocky seas, and it's kind of done in that old school tattoo style. And it says, "A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor." And like I said, the first time I read it, it really touched me. Life isn't always easy, and for me, it hasn't been. And I think for everyone, you have your own set of challenges. Even if you feel like your parents have, did a great job and gave you everything you needed and tried to figure everything out for you, you're going to still have challenges in your life. They might just be different ones than, someone who didn't have as much. And same from the other side of the fence. Like if you feel like you've been on the struggle bus your whole life, one thing after another keeps happening, and you look at someone who has from the outside maybe a better life than you, it's important not to dismiss the struggles that those people experience as well. It's easy to just be like, oh, must be nice. You've got it all. But we all have our own experiences in life and our own spectrum of emotions. And we're all going to experience hardships in our lives. And it really does come down to mindset. And this quote, like I said, "A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor." It was something that just stuck with me. I kept saying it in my head like, dang, that's so me. Like, I love the water. I love everything about boats and the sea. I just think I feel completely different when I am near the water. It's like totally refreshing for me. I don't know. I just feel like it touched me in a way that made me realize like, dang, all my hardships and all the things that I've gone through have made me who I am, have made me stronger, have made me smarter, have made me all the things that I need to be for the life that I want. And none of that stuff was experienced in vain, in other words. And I just think it's so important to think that way. So today we're going to talk about mindset and viewing things in a way where you feel like you've learned and gained in life. And you should always think that way. In order to improve your mindset, no matter where you might be on what I call the mindset spectrum, Meaning, one end is the fixed mindset and then the other end would be like the growth or positive mindset. It's important to first determine where you are. This is just like anything else. If you want to learn about it, you want to make progress, you got to figure out your baseline and figure out where you are. So we're going to go through some questions. This is going to be kind of like I don't want to call it a quiz, but in some ways it is going to be kind of like a quiz. And as I go through these things, they're not even really questions. They're more like statements. Okay. There's 10 of them to give you an overview of what we're doing. And for each statement, I want you to score yourself between 0 and 5, with 0 being like, no way, I don't ever think that way, or I don't agree. And then 5 being like, absolutely, yes, nailed it, 100%, you go, girl. Okay. Or you go, dude, whatever. So for each statement, you're going to give yourself a score. And as I read through them, just kind of keep your running score. You can write it down if you want for each statement, what you get, or you can just keep adding them up in your head until we get through all 10. Okay. And then we'll talk about the point ranges and where you stand with things. So I'm going to start reading through these statements, and each one I'm just going to kind of pause and give you some time in between. All right, here we go. The first one. I avoid saying I can't when I have inner dialogue. So score yourself between 0 and 5, 5 being, yes, I completely agree. I do this 100% of the time. I'll repeat it. I avoid saying I can't when I have inner dialogue. I believe in my own potential and can learn new things. Think about it. Give yourself a rating between 0 and 5. When I want something, I work hard and I go and get it. I love trying new things. If something takes effort, I see it as a path to achievement. So in other words, if something's a lot of work, you see it as like, oh, I can get better at this thing. Okay. When challenges arise, I embrace them and find ways to overcome. The next one, failure doesn't define me, and I prefer to learn from my own mistakes. 3 more, guys. I use feedback and criticism as self-reflection and learning points. The next one, I don't give up easily. And the last one, I find myself feeling inspired by the success of others. So there's your 10 statements. You should have a total in your head or written it down. Total it up. Here's what your score means. If you scored above a 40 in total, you are a mindset pro, like total. The episode is going to inspire you to keep on learning and being your best. But you're right here with me. You're like in the zone, If you scored in the 30 range, you're well on your way to mastering the growth mindset. But there are some things that you could learn from this episode for sure. Some tips and some tricks to inspire you and fine-tune your skills. If you scored in the 20 range or below, you're a growth mindset newbie. Don't worry though. We're going to get you going on some approachable ways that you can slowly build the skills and change your thinking over time. So just remember, this isn't an overnight thing, and it takes a little bit of work. Most of it, honestly, is quite passive. It's just like setting small goals for yourself so that you can see some real progress over time. Oh, and lastly, if you got a perfect score, I'm just honestly glad you're here with me. Like, you're a mindset master, and I would love to hear from you in my social media, Float On Podcast. I'm glad you're here with me. So a little bit about the growth mindset approach. Let's talk about it. And hopefully you guys got your score and you have an idea of where you stand. There's some key points or like key concepts in the growth mindset that are important. There is the skills and intelligence, your focus, concern, effort, how you handle challenges and obstacles, what you do with feedback, and how you regard mistakes. So I'm going to kind of go through these and just give you a little bit about each one. And then we're going to talk about some other things like where to start and the mindset snowball. So with skills and intelligence, basically what this means is that you feel like you have skills You notice them and you appreciate them and you value them. And same thing with your intelligence. Episode 3 was about being a life learner. If you didn't listen to episode 3, you should check it out. It's a really important element of maintaining a growth mindset is being a lifelong learner and seeing things in ways where you're like, oh, I can learn from this. That's a great place to start. Like if you're a mindset newbie and you're like, ooh, this is overwhelming. I feel like there's a lot to this. Like, what am I even doing here? Just starting with valuing your skills and your intelligence can be a really important step in the growth journey. So don't feel overwhelmed. You're going to take this piece by piece. And trust me, with the mindset snowball, I think you're going to see it's just going to kind of happen over time. The biggest thing with this is actually having respect for the learning process. Like you have to be kind to yourself. Don't feel like, oh, if you don't get something right away, it's just not meant for me. Some things take longer for other people. It's kind of like riding a bike. Either you got on it and you never fell and you just took to it right away, or it took you some tries and maybe you skinned your knees and you fell down, you ate it. You have to be kind to yourself knowing that eventually it will be something that you can master and have as a skill under your belt. It's like swimming, same thing. It's really like anything in life. I even tell my kids this at school, like about art. I have a lot of kids who come into my room and they're like, nope, can't do it. Before they even start my class, they are completely shut out. And I start my class by creating a culture of growth mindset with my students. And I talk to them about what I want them to tell themselves when they come in the art room. It's a place where it's okay to make mistakes, and that being open-minded to trying new things is like the number one thing I want them to bring in with them every day. Having that respect for the learning process is going to enable it that much more. Look to others for various resources for knowledge. This is another thing. Don't walk around feeling like you know it all, because you don't. Really. Like you could be super smart in anything. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be a master of everything. There is something to learn from everyone. And I talked about that in episode 3. Being aware of the people around you, the individuals around you, your resources that you have. Be open to learning. Somewhere to start would be to start brainstorming all the things that you're good at. This would be a good place to start with your growth mindset journey. Is just list out on the paper, just throw them down, things that you feel you're good at. It could be literally anything, like I'm a good listener. I make the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I keep my car really clean. Like these are things I want you to list anything and everything that you feel you're good at. Fill that paper up, fill it up, and then look at it. Hang it up somewhere. Can you add to those things? How many things have you learned that maybe you weren't so great at the first time? When you were 3, could you make the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Probably not. Okay, I get it. You grew up and you got skills and you learned how to handle silverware and, your fine motor skills. Yeah, but you still learned, right? So be real with yourself about that. And then I want you to choose a few things that you'd like to improve on. But I want you to do that after you've acknowledged all the things that you're good at. That's important. The second one is focus concern. And basically what this means is when you're growing and learning, you should be focusing on your improvement and not worry about what others are thinking of you. This is kind of a tricky one, but I feel like there are some little things that you can do in your life to make sure that you're focusing on your own improvement. For example, if you are on a fitness journey, go for a walk or a run outside where people can see you. Don't just hide and run in the treadmill all the time because you're embarrassed or something. Get out there. Some other things you can do would be to journal and make progress on a goal. Let that hold you accountable, your journal. Don't make a social media post about it. There's a lot of people who, even I've done it. I'm going to post about this here to hold myself accountable so everybody knows. And then everybody comments. And then it just becomes this thing that's not really about you anymore, right? You've got all these people. And while it's okay, I get it. There's some merit to the accountability partner and having a workout partner. And I'm not downing any of that. But I think when it comes to mindset, this is about you and only you. No one else can give you a compliment and you believe it until you've actually done this work yourself. So this is really important. Another thing you could do, this is just an idea, but you could create like a private blog for yourself and upload photos and journal. You can download like the Tumblr app, or you can do it from your phone and just make like a digital journal for yourself. So that would be a way to do it too. And just kind of focus on the journey. Really think about your progress. Look at the past stuff that you've written and the past photos that you've posted, and just focus on your progress and your growth instead of what other people are thinking or saying. Effort is another element in the growth mindset. This is just about how you approach something that would take a lot of effort. You can break things down into like mini steps or mini goals. Creating checklists are a great way to overcome something that takes a lot of effort, breaking it down into steps. It's really important for you to understand that effort is not meant to deter you. I think that in this culture especially, we've learned that technology can make things easy for us. It can make things instant for us. We always want to get done with things as quickly as we can with the least amount of effort. And while, in a lot of ways that's great, I think that it's sort of coached us out of appreciating effort and what it can do for us as far as our mindset. If you approach something that requires effort and you do it, there's a sense of accomplishment there that you're not going to get if you do something that's instant or easy. It's just not going to be the same. Some things that you can try, and these are just ideas that I'm throwing out there for you, but doing something creative is a great way to learn new skills in the effort department. Like trying a craft or something like knitting or crocheting. You could try learning a new instrument or a sport, or like weightlifting, anything where it takes time and like work overtime to make progress. These are the things that are going to give you those effort skills and teach you in your mind that effort is a good thing. Requiring effort means achievement. Another element of mindset is how you handle challenges and obstacles. Some things you can do with this would be to journal about challenges that you face. Now, I know I keep going back to journaling. Some people just aren't into it. But again, you could find a digital way to do it. The important thing is that you're writing down thoughts and how you truly view challenges from day to day. Like, what are your feelings associated with those challenges? And really be honest about it. But I want you to also focus on solutions. Like, if you have a challenge that comes up in your day, write about how you really feel. But before you leave that mind space, when you're thinking about that thing in that moment, come up with a solution, a possible solution. Is it the only solution? Probably not. But write one down for yourself. Read and reread these notes. Maybe add another solution. As you progress through this challenge, what is the way out? What's the best way to do it? Sometimes it's handling it head on. Sometimes it's creating closure for yourself if you're dealing with something emotional. So it just depends on what you're doing. But that challenge is going to be an important part of your understanding your mindset. So how you handle those challenges and obstacles is going to be important. When life gives you a bucket of lemons, find the positives. Make lemonade. That's what my grandpa would always say. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If you really think about it, it's true. That's a mindset thing. Don't let yourself sit there and sulk. Be better. Be bigger than it. Overcome, right? When you're having a rough day, find something to hold on to. When you screw up, find the lessons and own your mistakes. Another part of mindset is what you do with your feedback that you get. So if someone gives you advice, they're giving you feedback. You have to question yourself too. What are your intentions? Are you just venting? Do you not want advice? You should make that clear. Like, look, I'm not looking for advice. I just got to get this out. Because if you come to someone and you are venting, especially if you're going to someone that you know is helpful to you, well, why are you going to that person? Do you want the advice or not? So you have to decide to yourself, like if you're going to that person and you want advice and you want them to make you feel better, you got to take it. You don't have to agree 100%. Only you really know you. But I would really, really think about what they're saying. Hold it with you. Try to see things from the outside and reflect. This is an important growth mindset thing here. Do not dismiss feedback, but you should consider the source. One thing I will say for this is, for example, let's say you go to a friend who's typically negative and you're venting to them. Maybe you just want to have a complain fest, right? Okay, but you're not going to get out of that conversation anything that's positive if they're a complainer. You can do your complaining, right? You're hanging out in the mud pit, but you're not going to get clean from that experience. So I want you to seek feedback from others who have a growth mindset. People in your life that are high achieving, highly motivated, that are constantly trying to do things and be better. Those are the people that you want to go to about things when you're seeking advice and you want feedback. These are the people that are going to be focused on growth and improvement. And this is going to start shifting your mindset. I cannot tell you how many times I've found myself going to a friend who maybe doesn't give the best advice, and then I'm wondering why I don't feel better after that conversation. Well, I'll tell you right now, I have a couple friends who are big on growth mindset. Those are my favorite people on the planet. Even if they're not my closest friends, we don't hang out every day. They're my favorite people because I know when we talk, it's going to come out good. No matter what I come to them with, it's going to come out good and I'm going to pull something from that experience. So you really have to kind of do an inventory of the people that you're surrounded with and be careful who you seek feedback from because you're going to get what you sign up for. I'll just tell you that much. The last element, I would say, and you could break these down in different ways, but these are the big things that I see in growth mindset. And the last one is how you regard mistakes. And this one's really important. Mistakes are going to happen. We've never gotten through life without a single mistake. Nobody on the planet, promise. And if they say that, they're lying. They're lying to you and they're lying to themselves. So when it comes to mistakes, be kind and forgive yourself. You got to see mistakes as an opportunity to learn. Never, ever, ever, listen carefully. Never let a mistake pass through your life without determining what you learned. That is key, you guys. It is absolutely key. And I don't want you to view failures and mistakes as a way out, but I want you to think of it more as a progress point, like a little checkpoint for you to pause and reflect. You can go back and redo it. That's the best thing about life. You can figure it out. If you made a mistake, own it, and you can make it better. You can be better. I know that's a lot that I kind of went over there, and I kind of hope you guys use this episode as a reference for mindset. But overall, the question is like, well, where do I really start, with all this stuff? One thing I want to just say as words of encouragement is that mindset cannot be changed overnight. You have to start with like small moments. Choose a small change to focus on. Here's an example. If you are the kind of person that says like, oh, I can't, or I shouldn't, or I won't do that, I want you to start focusing on changing that inner dialogue in your head. When a challenge comes up, force yourself to find a solution. Don't let yourself give up. Okay? So that inner dialogue and how you speak to yourself in your head, that's going to be a big thing. That's going to start sort of exuding itself on the outside of you. And you're going to become more positive to other people, and it's going to open up more positive energy in your life. You're going to start to see things happening, and I'll talk about that in the next section, which is like the mindset snowball. I want you to remember that the outcome of your day is the result of how you see it. Acknowledge hard moments. Don't ignore them or like pretend that they didn't happen. That's not what growth mindset and positive mindset is about. It's just about acknowledging them for what they are, but not making them more than what they are, and sometimes that takes a little bit of reflection, but it's all part of the process. Another little trick that I offer to people is like the positive ratio concept. So like try to think 5 positive thoughts for each negative one. So like if you think something negative, okay, fine. But then I want you to take that time and purposefully think of 5 positive things to make up for that one negative thought that you had. Practicing gratitude is a great place to start, and being thankful for things and people around you. Seeing the positive in your friends and your family and your experiences and your work and your hobbies. Look, guys, I'm not out of touch with reality, okay? We're not all going to love our jobs. There's even parts of my job, even though I love it, that I don't like. But you gotta find the positives. Don't just focus on the negatives. And another thing that's important with mindset is practicing self-care. You have to be very present with yourself. And if you need a break, take it. If you need to exude these negative thoughts that you have, get them out. Don't sit there and let them stir in your mind. Figure out a way to get them out so you can move past. Write them down on a piece of paper and crumple it up and throw it away. You'll feel better about it. Cry about it. Cry it out. That's another thing that I do sometimes. I always tell Doug, he's gotten used to it now. We've been together for over 5 years, so he knows me now really well. But he knows I sometimes just need to cry. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed. Sometimes I'm really stressed. Obviously, if I'm sad, pretty much any emotional moment in a movie, like I cry. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I don't. So crying is another way to practice self-care and just kind of like letting yourself process emotions and things. The question is, what is the mindset snowball? What does that really mean? And the mindset snowball is basically just like, I'm going to use some analogies here, okay? I want you to think about positivity and negativity like plants, okay? So imagine different kinds of plants. If you nurture your mental garden, you take care of it, you water it, make sure it gets sunshine, give it love, maybe serenade it with a little guitar song, something like that, you're going to get fruits and beautiful flowers, right? But if you neglect it and you let that negativity creep in, that negative energy, you're going to get weeds. And you know how weeds are, guys. They spread everywhere. And that's what's going to happen with negativity. If you have a fixed mindset or a negative mindset, those weeds are going to spread into areas of your life that you didn't even plan for. Positivity and the growth mindset takes a little bit more work. It's deliberate and you have to keep it up. Will it become more natural over time? Yes, I promise you it will. But it is something that's sort of a focused effort at times. I even find myself in a rut here and there. I will admit I'm a worrier. If there's something going on, I will think through all of the scenarios, not just the good ones, not just the bad ones. I think through it all. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm really closing that chapter by reflecting and focusing on solutions and how I'm going to get through it or how I'm going to help someone get through or whatever. So you want to start small with your mindset and always kind of keep it moving in a positive direction and focusing on how to get better. Like I said, you're going to have your down days. Let's say you start with this mindset stuff and you have like a really good week. Well, that's easy stuff, right? But then maybe a challenge comes or a crisis situation happens or something, stressful happens. Well, now you've leveled up and the mindset stakes are a little higher, aren't they? And so it's about giving yourself that grace of like, okay, well, I'm who I am right now. I have to get through this. But can you add a little bit of positive and growth mindset in there to help you get through? Okay, so that's going to be important. This is what I want you guys to try. Just try this for me. Okay, tomorrow when you wake up, I want you to acknowledge how you really feel emotionally, physically, mentally, where you at. And then I want you to find something that you're thankful for in that moment. It could be the sunshine coming in the bathroom window or the way your cat looks at you when he's hungry and he's just hanging out waiting for you to feed him. Or maybe it's the smell of your coffee. Find something that you're thankful for. And I also want you to decide on something that you're going to learn or do something new that day or make time for yourself somehow. Okay, so those two things, find something that you're thankful for and either do or learn something new or make specific time for you that day. Now, it's easy to default like, oh, cool, I'm going to sit here and watch TikTok videos for an hour because that's what I want to do. No, put that phone down and do something else. Find something meaningful that's going to stand out in your mind at the end of the day that you did something for you. When you talk to a friend or a family member, I want you to give them a compliment. Someone that you know. Find something that you can compliment them with. Find it. Positive perpetuates positive. I promise you. And then when you go to bed tomorrow, I want you to notice good things that happened in your day. Spend some time thinking about them. Reflect on them. How did they make you feel? What does it mean to you? Are those the memories that you want to keep in your mind? With it being January, I have a quote from Martin Luther King. He said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." I want you guys to remember that negativity cannot drive out negativity. Only growth and positivity can do that. Alrighty? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Before I let you go, I just want to relay a heartfelt thank you through the sound waves from my soul to yours. I really appreciate your time and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you loved what you heard, please write me a review, share this episode with someone that you feel may benefit, and head over to floatonpodcast.com to add us on social media and see updates. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.